France, meanwhile, is pitching what it says is a new model of partnership with African countries at a huge summit that's underway in Kenya. This comes as France completes a military withdrawal from West African countries that has been widely seen as marking a declining French influence on the continent. Paris is co-hosting the summit with Nairobi, and we can cross down to Tom Canetti, who's covering this event for us. Tom, the heads of state are meeting with business leaders today. Tell us a bit more about that.
30 heads of state are here having bilateral meetings with each other, but also with the leaders of French businesses and African businesses. For example, this morning we saw Paul Kagame, the Rwandan president, enter a room with the CEO of Total Energies. We also spoke to the CEO of Dangote, who is the richest man in Africa and also the biggest investor. He told us that Africa has to switch from simply having its resources exploited by other countries and start building refinery infrastructure here so that Africans can start adding value to their resources. And that was a sentiment that was echoed by Antonio Guterres this morning in his speech, the UN Secretary General, who said that the political and financial global systems are designed to be unfair to Africa, and that foreign countries come here and exploit their resources and simply leave Africans with the negative effects of climate change. And that is what French President Emmanuel Macron says that this summit is all about. It's about resetting this relationship with Africa to be one based on equitable partnerships rather than France's colonial past.
So, Tom, the G7 is coming up in June. Could this summit be seen as a bit of a stepping stone toward that?
Absolutely. So at the end of this summit, there'll be the Nairobi Declaration signed, and Emmanuel Macron has invited William Ruto to attend the G7 in June, which will be hosted by France. And this comes after Macron uninvited Cyril Ramaphosa, the South African president, reportedly after pressure from Donald Trump. And I can confirm today that Mr. Ramaphosa is not here in attendance, and neither is South Africa's foreign minister, so take what you will from that. But we did speak to the spokesperson of the Kenyan government this morning, and he said that Kenya is eager for France to bring the Nairobi Declaration to the G7 and fight for Africa to have a more influential position on the world stage. And part of that is France's advocacy for Africa to have 2 permanent seats on the UN Security Council. That's going to be discussed today. And that was also a sentiment echoed by Antonio Guterres this morning.